Okay, and then the second session, I will look at the deep learning tools. I will just go through how we have set up the different services. I will not go too much into details about deep learning type of calculations. So the package installation page is very similar to what you already saw in the Jupyter Jupyter Hub installation. This one is a bit simpler. I will give it this name and or I'll authorize everyone. Yeah. So now we see, before I do this, I see that two people have probably, or no, one person have tried to set up a service with a GPU. In order to do this demonstration a bit quicker, I would like to also use this GPU, so I need to stop the service that's already using this GPU. We can have the course open for 1 week so that you can all test this later. I can also do it without the GPU. Okay. I still select the main storage that we have. I will try to just install it with the GPU and see what happens. But it might be just stuck on pending, and then I will do it again. Get the GPU. And now you see that the deep learning tools has 3 different services inside. The first one is a Jupyter Lab, and the second one is a tensorboard, and the third one is mlflow. I will run an example using all of these 3. Log in again, since the service is new. And here you see, since this is a Jupyter Lab, I get my username as the user running the service. And also, since this is, I authorize you to join, but please wait until I'm done with the demonstration, because you're actually in the same container here. So that is possible to share these kind of services, but it will be a little bit confusing if people are actually working on them at the same time. So it might be better to have one each and then stop and start. Yes. Okay, so I will pick a very simple example first, and then after that I will go through how to install some software in the running service. So those are the 2 things I want to do in this deep learning tools example. Okay, so I picked a example from the mlflow documentation pages, and you probably have seen that some of these, or especially the deep learning tools service, is a bit old, and that is because of the NVIDIA drivers that we have on the service platform. And we are planning to release a new version next time we update Kubernetes. And then this service will also be updated. So looking at the mlflow, in order to find working examples, I check the version that we currently have here. And then I went to the mlflow documentation and picked the version that we have. And I picked a tutorial. And I picked this one, TensorFlow 2. So that's, if you want to find another type of example, this is where you go. Okay, so that's this version. It is doing a MLP calculation, multi-layer perceptron model, on Reuters articles, and it's doing some topic classification using TensorFlow. And so it's picking some data to train and some data to test, and building a model and compiling and fitting the model to the data. So yes, like I said, I want to show how to use it, not that specifically of what it is actually doing. Okay, so I have this example. I can run it with Python on the command line. I just checked that I'm not there. I need to go into the data folder. The data folder is actually the course, or the entire NIRD project area. I have the course demo here. I can run this Python program. So yeah, you can use any command line application as well in the Jupyter service. Train. Let's see if it works. Building the model. This is fast because we have a GPU attached, and no. Some reason this, sorry. Yeah, sometimes these services are actually using more memory, and I'm assuming that's the reason that I picked a too small service. So I will pick the next machine type, this one, 16 gigabytes of memory, which is more reasonable. So yeah, the smallest machine types are probably too small for many tasks. Okay. See if we have luck. Yep, now it passed. And it gave a test score and a test accuracy. And it was using this mlflow to track some features. So now we will go to the mlflow, and you will see that these were, so this was before, and I refresh. I have now run one training. It's been registered as an mlflow calculation, I can go and it will have quite a lot of information about what happened during this calculation. It will give, for instance, if you want to rerun, it will say what you did, what you had, and what you used. So we used this version of TensorFlow in this calculation. It's also giving this tensorboard logs, which we can then use to put into the tensorboard and have a look at what was happening there. Let's see one more thing here. Yeah, so TensorFlow, it has quite a lot of different things that have been logged that are relevant and for these kind of deep learning tools. So what you see here, that there is a file name for this tensorboard log, and this one we need to move in order to see it in the tensorboard application. So we have a path to the file, and we have the tensorboard. And you see here, there is currently no data, and it says, where should I put the data? So this is the directory we want to put the data in. And currently, this is the directory the data was stored from the mlflow calculation. As you see, whenever we start the service with NIRD Toolkit, we get a folder inside the, so this is a more like a symbolic link to the project area. And then the project area will have this .tools folder. And it will, for the deep learning tools, it will have an mlflow folder and also a tensorboard folder. So copying this. Yeah. I can have a look and change or copy it over into the tensorboard. Let's see. Yeah, and for some reason it has this file at the beginning. Yeah, so you see there, this one exists. And it should be moved or copied over. To, no, what did I do? And then I need the folder name for the tensorboard as well. Okay, so now I have copied it over to the log folder of tensorboard. And refreshing, I now have the tensorboard of the calculation I just made. And in the tensorboard, there are some the graphs, for instance, of what the module did, among other things. So these are the deep learning model that was run in this very simple example. So yeah, I guess that was pretty quick. I will go back now and look at the software installation part instead. So I have this one just to have a look at the different things that we have. You see the launcher? The launcher means we have 3 different kernels for Python. So each notebook can be run with either one of these kernels. And if you want to install some software, this one has a lot of software. These 2 have less software already installed. There are some things about Jupyter notebooks. If you go and look at the, here it always asks you to select the kernel. I select the default kernel first and run all of, restart and run everything that I have listed here. The Conda environment list, it says that there are 2 Conda environments in this service, one called base and one called minimal. These are where you switch the kernels. You have the one with a lot of software, one with less software, and this one is only Python, the system Python, not Conda. You can choose which one you want. This is basically just to check the integration against the GPU. And we have the driver version here. And the CUDA version that we have. So yes, in not too long, we should update this one. And then all of the services in the deep learning tools will be renewed as well. When you run these kind of things, you're actually checking the same thing as you would on the terminal. So these are the notebook way of running a terminal command. So it will be the same in the terminal. And this will not change when you change the kernel version, because this will always do this, what is in the terminal and not what's in the kernel here. So if I do which pip, I will get the main conda, even if I change this one to the minimal conda and run this one again, I'm still at the one that's active in the terminal. And same with this one. So if you want to check something in the minimal conda, which is where I am now, the normal pip command will work against this kernel. It will show you that this pip version is going to the conda environment, and that is the minimal one. So if you want to pip install anything into the minimal conda, you can do it from the notebook. And I think this is the recommended one, because it has not so much software already installed. So if I run this one again, these are all the packages in the minimal conda. So it's very easy to add something. While if I change it back to the IP kernel one and run this list, it has a lot of software. So you can check here if the software you need is already installed, and if the version is okay for you. It should be pretty easy to go directly and try to run something. But if you have a specific version or a specific software that you need to install, I would recommend the minimal conda and just install it here. The thing about this is that when you stop the service, this installation will be removed, because you always start from the same image. And when you do an install here, you don't change the image, you only change the running container. So I will show how that works as well. So now I install pandas into this one. And it seems to work. Got the new version of NumPy, pandas, and etc. I list this one again. I now get the list that includes pandas, which was not there in before. If I want to recreate this one, I could either make a requirement file only with this pandas. I think I will do that for simplicity. Or I could pick everything here if I want exactly the same environment again next time. So I will make a requirement files that only has this one entry. And requirements file are quite common, or just calling it like this. And okay, so I want to have a requirements file on hand in order to recreate my environment when I want, if I need to restart the service over with specific software. Okay, so now it's here, and now we stop the service just to double check what's happening, and then I will do, I think, yeah, I'm pretty sure you can install from requirements also inside the notebook. Let's go back. Takes some seconds to stop it completely. Yeah, so this is the way to install software if you don't want to think about containers at all. If you only want to be inside the service, this is how you do it. No. Okay, we are in the minimal conda again. Restart the kernel, run everything. Oh, no, okay. Did I actually? This is strange. Did I actually get to restart it properly? Because I just checked this. This is really strange. Did I go too fast? Maybe I did. Let's stop the notebook and do it again. yeah, now it's been stopped. Here is also some checks. There is a deployment and it's not running. Okay, let's swap it one more time. There we go. Oh, it was the other one. Just to be sure that there is nothing that is somehow cached. Okay, so it does install something inside the .local folder under in the NIRD project. In the NIRD project, you will have a home, and so there is some way of keeping this actually, but in order to be certain, it's probably best to start again every time anyway. And also, yeah, okay, yes. So it might be pointing to these ones and then just saying that they are already there. And maybe, yeah, no, never mind. Let's double check what happens when I delete. And if it is still there on delete, then at least these kind of things are actually a bit more persistent and saved on NIRD. And now I'm just authorizing myself today. And I will set up a new one afterwards. While we wait, I guess we can have questions.
Yes, actually, there is one question. 22. Or could you go to the collaborative documentation? And I didn't answer that.
Yeah. So it is quite possible to use the internal just in the service. So that you don't have to use the Docker commands yourself.
Oh, you are answering the question 24?
I'm answering the question. So yeah, so it said that Docker is not so straightforward to use. And that's true. And we have these Docker images available if you want to look at them. If you don't, it's possible to have these kind of installation of software directly when you start the service, instead of thinking about the Docker container part, that we are inside a container when we are in the NIRD service, NIRD Toolkit. But so there might be something that is unexpected potentially, but most of it is as though you are logged in on a server, just that you are not actually. Let's go to this one and see if it still remembers the installation I did. Let's close this notebook. We are in the minimal conda, rerunning everything. Yeah, no, it is actually remembering the pandas. So if you really need to do something new, then you probably have to go and check and remove some side packages, or just update here, because people will give you a new version if you ask for a new version. But then again, it's not so easy to switch between environments as I thought it was. So pros and cons of making it this way. Yeah, that's what I wanted to show.